The Egyptian Pyramids of Giza. They are an archaeological masterpiece, one of the 7 wonders of the world, one of the most famous landmarks on the planet, and the most impressive man-made structures ever made. After many years of studying and our advancement in technology, we are still barely any further in uncovering the truth behind these magnificent structures. How were the huge stones moved? What mysterious cement was used to bind them all together? How are they so aligned? The questions are endless, so from the mysteries to the facts, let's take a dive into one of the most fascinating topics in the world, the Egyptian pyramids. As always, sit back and enjoy. How were they built? Let's start with the most common question of all. How were the pyramids built? It's estimated they took between 10 and 15 years to build, and the ancient engineering feats at Giza were so impressive that even today, scientists cannot be sure how the pyramids were constructed. What is known is that the builders would have been highly skilled, strong Egyptians, not slaves as is sometimes depicted, and the workforce was thought to be anything from 14,000 to as many as 40,000. Just think, the Great Pyramid alone is estimated to contain 2.3 million limestone blocks, 8,000 tons of granite, and 500,000 tons of mortar. It's no wonder we question how these huge quantities of building materials were transported, let alone manoeuvred into place, some of which lifted over 450 feet up. What we do somewhat know is that the blocks were from nearby quarries, and as was the tradition with ancient Egyptians at the time, they were cut by hammering in water-soaked wooden wedges into cracks. As the water was absorbed and the wedges expanded, it caused the rock to break. Once they were cut, they were transported by boat or floated using a flotation device, either up or down the River Nile, and then to the pyramid build site. That's the most plausible theory on how the building material was transported to the pyramid site, but that doesn't explain how the pyramids themselves were constructed. First, let's not forget that some of the individual blocks are estimated to weigh as much as 70 tons, with most being around 2.5 tons. Even modern day, fuel-powered construction cranes don't usually lift more than 20 tons, so how did they do it? There are 2 most popular theories. The first, that once the blocks arrived at the pyramid site, a system of ramps would have been used to haul the stones into place. But given their sheer weight and the height they would have needed to be hauled as the pyramids began to take shape, makes this theory incredibly unlikely, although not impossible. For most people, the second theory seems more plausible. The huge stones were floated into position using the same buoyancy method possibly used to transport them to the site. But although it looks simple on video and diagrams, don't forget we're talking tons of stone. The amount of buoyancy needed for this would be astronomical. Take into account the waterproofing needed for the water chambers, and the amount of pressure on the hatch doors that would have needed to be opened and closed seems insane. This theory, although good on paper, doesn't hold enough evidence to suggest that this is how those blocks were manoeuvred. And that's because, despite some of the cleverest minds invested in this, we are still not sure how exactly these incredible structures were built. However, a Top 5's video wouldn't be complete without mentioning aliens, so we will talk about those later. How do you think they were built? The secret tunnels. The pyramids are filled with mysteries, and the Great Pyramid air shafts or tunnels is one of them. At first it was thought they may have served as some sort of ventilation during the construction process. However, this has been dismissed in recent years, after the discovery of what appears to be small limestone blocks or doors at the top of some of the shafts. There are currently 3 known chambers in the Great Pyramid, the base chamber that supports the pyramid, and 2 upper chambers that are known as the Queen and King's chambers. In both of these, it's been discovered that there are 4 small tunnels that extend from the north and south walls. They are only around 20 centimeters squared, and over the years, it's speculated that these lead to another secret chamber deep within the pyramid. With modern technology, it's been established that the tunnels in the King's chamber are open-ended and lead to the outside of the pyramid. This has led to the belief that these shafts were to allow the king's soul to travel to the stars of the north and south sky, and this seems quite plausible considering their beliefs. However, the Queen's Chamber tunnels are more mysterious, and remote control cameras have been sent down them, and this is when it was realised they are blocked off by small stone doors, with what appears to be metal pins. This is strange in itself, as no metal is in any other part of the pyramid. This has led to speculation that behind the door is another undiscovered chamber. More recently, another robot was sent in, and this time it drilled into a stone block inside the tunnel, and did discover a small empty chamber. The most recent exploration of the tunnel was done using a newly developed robot camera that managed to get into the chamber and found 4,500-year-old hieroglyphics written in red paint, and carvings in the stone. With these more detailed pictures, it's been suggested the tunnel has some symbolic meaning, rather than serving any purpose. And if the hieroglyphics could be deciphered, it could hold the key to yet another mystery of the Great Pyramid. It would not have been easy to incorporate these shafts into what was already a super intricate building, so it's safe to assume there is some deeper meaning to them, and the possibility is high that there are many more undiscovered tunnels deep within the Great Pyramid. It's just a matter of searching for them. Why did they build them? Bizarre as it may seem, we think we know one thing about the pyramids: why they were built. It's believed these huge constructions were built as tombs for pharaohs and their queens, to protect their bodies and help them on their journey to eternal life. From birth, the ancient Egyptians planned for their death, and for the pharaohs, the pyramids were perfect for holding their most prized possessions that they would need in the afterlife. The burial was considered a very important event, a process that was connected to the rising and setting of the sun. The dead pharaoh represented Osiris, the setting of the sun, and his son, who would replace his father as the new pharaoh, was the vision of Horus, the rising of the sun. For this reason, the deceased pharaoh had to be eternally protected in death to avoid a cosmic disturbance, and his body preserved so it would be recognisable by his spirit. This was achieved by the process of mummification that consisted of being embalmed and wrapped in a fine linen. The pharaoh's body would then be placed in a sarcophagus made of heavy stone to protect his corpse, and placed deep in the pyramid, along with gold, food, furniture, boats, clothing, and other luxury offerings. Items that would not only provide for him, but also for relatives and servants buried near him. However, despite these elaborate measures, all the pyramids of Giza eventually succumbed to tomb thieves, and no bodies have ever been recovered from them. Today they are completely empty, and unlike other Egyptian tombs, the walls are also bare, and contain no inscriptions, hieroglyphics, or pharaoh names, apart from those secret tunnels. This decimation of the pyramids forced the pharaohs to eventually look for other ways to protect their bodies, and they moved to carving their tombs into cliffs or underground. Most notably in the Valley of the Kings, where the boy king Tutankhamun's tomb was famously uncovered in 1922. But maybe the pyramids were not built for this, and had a much more significant purpose, one that could explain the incredible accuracy that went into building them. Why and how are the Great Pyramids of Giza the most perfectly aligned structures on the planet? With a footprint of 13 acres, you would think there would be a lot of room for errors in terms of the perfection of the pyramid structure. However, over the years, more and more people have been realizing how aligned they seem to be in relation to stars on Earth. It's mainly the Great Pyramid, which out of the three is the one that holds the most secrets and has baffled scientists, archaeologists, and astronomers for years. One example is, if you multiply the height of the Great Pyramid by 43,200, it's equal to the polar radius of the Earth. Now this wouldn't mean anything, but if you multiply the base perimeter by the same number, it's equal to the equatorial circumference of the Earth. It could be a complete coincidence, but we are led to believe they were built in a time when nobody knew a thing about the Earth, or that we even lived on a round planet for that matter. The Great Pyramid also faces true north, with only a 3/60th of a degree of error, and when it was built, it was exactly aligned to the North Pole, and is positioned at the centre of the landmass of Earth. The four faces of the Great Pyramid are slightly concave, the only one built this way. However, this phenomenon is only apparent at dusk and sunset, on the spring and autumn equinoxes, when the sun casts shadows on the pyramid. And remarkably, the curvature designed into the faces of the Great Pyramid exactly matches the radius of the Earth. The mortar used to build the pyramids is stronger than stone, and over the years has been intensely analysed. Would you believe that although it is known what its chemical compound is, it's been impossible to reproduce? And one of the reasons the pyramid is still standing is that the cornerstone foundations have a ball and socket construction that is capable of withstanding heat expansion and earthquakes. Despite the searing heat of the Egyptian desert, the temperature inside the pyramid is a constant 20 degrees, the same as the average temperature on Earth. And of course, we've all heard about the Orion's Belt theory, that shows the pyramid's positioning matches with the 3 stars. So are all these, and the many other facts about the Great Pyramid, a massive coincidence? Or is there a deeper, more significant meaning to all this? Aliens. With so many unanswered questions about the pyramids, there have been many alternative theories about how these precise constructions came about. One theory that repeatedly comes up is life from another planet being responsible. The theory suggests that the Egyptians must have had help from superior technology to come up with such exact dimensions for the pyramids, or that they were built solely by advanced alien visitors without any human assistance at all. There is some evidence that adds weight to these theories. In particular, the fact that some of the extraordinary details of the alignment of the pyramid can only be seen from the air. It would have been impossible to calculate the orientation of the pyramids without an aerial view, something that surely only a visitor from another planet could have achieved. Also, it would have been impossible to have built the Great Pyramid facing the exact magnetic North Pole without having a compass, and the extraordinary alignment of the celestial objects would not have been possible, or at least incredibly hard. Furthermore, the Egyptians would not have known the exact length of the year or when the summer solstice was, questioning why, on the evening of a summer solstice, can the sun be seen setting in the exact centre of the 2 pyramids. And if aliens did build the pyramids in around 10,000 BC, as is claimed, then it would explain the Orion theory, because the positioning of the 3 pyramids of Giza would have aligned exactly with the 3 stars of Orion as they were located at that time. It's theorised that only beings from a highly intelligent other world would be able to calculate and action some of these and other intricate details of the pyramids, things that even with the best technology in the world today, we are still yet to offer a definitive answer. So that's 5 facts and mysteries surrounding the pyramids at Giza. I hope you've enjoyed, and what do you think about them? Were the Egyptians far more advanced than we think, and we are severely underestimating them? Or do the alien theories hold up? I would love to hear your thoughts and discussions. Thanks for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video.